Hello, this is Christopher Olszewski. Today I'll be giving you a self-assessment or reflection of my experience in the 219 speech course and how I think I have grown from this time in this class. To continue, question 1. Now that you developed many kinds of speeches in the speech 219 course, what is your comfort level of presenting in the 21st century? So I think my comfort level has definitely improved for the 21st century, for presenting in the 21st century, mostly because I look back and I see the very first speech that I was assigned and how many takes I've taken on that compared to the most recent one that I have now, where I'm like, oh, I have like 5, 6 different retakes rather than I have like 30 or 40 in a folder for the module 1, where I'm like, I was just freaking out and I just needed to like take a couple breaths and then recompose and then try to get across my opinion or what I needed to say in a meaningful manner that presented in an aesthetically improving way. So it continued to the question 1 continued, which is describe your level of public speaking anxiety. So public speaking has never been my forte. I've always struggled with it to a certain point. I know that everyone has to do it eventually, but honestly, just taking a couple breaths and recomposing myself before I go up and taking a speech, and knowing that it's the one shot that I'm gonna get. There is no makeups or redos on the speech. You're trying to get the audience up. You're trying to get your point across the audience in a meaningful manner, and you want to have a lasting. You want to have a good lasting moment on them for what you said, and that it's going to stick with them afterwards. Which rolled into the question 2. Do you prefer public speaking in more traditional, in-person environments, or do you enjoy the technology-driven presentations of the 21st century? So honestly, I do prefer public speaking in a more traditional or more in-person environment. I feel like the one-shot mentality that I have only one chance to do this is a lot more. I enjoy it a lot more because you do it and you give your best effort at it, and that's it. Like that's more about like how life is. Like the 21st century, it has been nice in this course to be able to keep redoing my speeches, but it does eat up at time after a while, where I'll be doing this for like 6, 7 hours out of the day. I'm like, I don't feel comfortable, and then I might have to just give up on it. I'm like, I don't know. So I'll try it again tomorrow. I'll get back to it. I'll try to see if there's a difference in my slides or something else I can improve on. Which goes into the next question for question 2 continued is, do I think it will be important for me to do both successfully? And I think it is, yes, I think this is very true. So there may be a day that I have to go in front of a large group of people and I have to get my idea across and try to incite them in a certain way where I need to get them excited about this project that we might be performing. While 21st century, I know I'll be taking more online classes in the future. So if there's ever a project that will pop up or I need to do a 21st century presentation, I know that this class has definitely set a good foundation for that, for where I am going from there for any other courses that I may endure on. Question 3, describe a way you can approach preparing for a presentation, or the way I now approach preparing for a presentation. So what I have for the picture is actually a lot like what I do. I do a more of a mental checklist to make sure that my slides and my presentation is up to par of like what I want to talk about, and I have the main ideas, and I have everything I know that I want to speak about during that time is in order, rather than doing the speech or doing the slides and then going from there and then trying to redo it and then figuring out what was wrong, what I like. Being able to revise my own work before I say the presentation has definitely helped me come along a long way on this class. So I've definitely noticed it. Question 3 continued. What have I learned about preparing for a speech based on the presentation ecosystem? So presentation ecosystem is the message they're trying to get across, the slides that you have, and how you deliver it. So definitely this is all into what a speech is, and me learning about this and trying to learn the different elements and what I should focus on has definitely helped me a lot going here. It's definitely helped me notice my weaknesses as well. So knowing my weaknesses, I know that's where I'm going to try to work on from there. So into question 4, because it kind of feeds into question 3 from there. Discuss your thoughts on the 3 elements of the presentation ecosystem. Which piece or pieces are you most comfortable with? And the 2 I picked was definitely message and delivery. So I think I know what I want to talk about, and I can deliver it to the people fairly easily. And that's where my weakness is which piece do you think I need practice on further? And that's definitely my slides. Is that I'm noticing that when I was trying to do this project that I'm trying to figure out some slides to do during the week, and I'm like, I don't really know how it goes. It's a very broad idea for what you were saying. There wasn't really a time constraint either, so I'm trying to figure out how to do these slides, and from there, it's like, how am I going to get my point across? And I'm like, all right, well, let's just put something together. That way I have something and keep going from there. So I definitely know my strengths and my weaknesses, because just got to keep reinforcing the strengths and then work on the weaknesses so they can be just as strong as the strengths at one point. Which goes into question 5. So what are the 3 most important lessons that you've learned in your experience in Speech 219? So the art of storytelling is the first one I have on the left for the PowerPoint, and that is what I thought was very strong. So you know that when you're trying to speak or you're trying to present something to someone, that it's all about how you word it and how you present the stories. You have your introduction, you have your main body, and you have your conclusion of what you did learn from that experience. And that's why I think a PowerPoint or a speech or any presentation has a very strong, what you should very strongly strive to do is that, I know for the module 8 it was the 10-80-10 rule that you try to and tell us to do, that we have on our persuasive speech that we should enforce. And so there should be the credibility, the ethos, pathos, and logos. I thought that was like what went into the things from earlier, from how the message, slides, and delivery had enhanced it, and I thought these fell into that category very well. I didn't really know that well, which helped me reinforce my weaknesses and strengthen my strengths. And then the last one that I had learned from the experience was death by PowerPoint. So no one likes to sit through a PowerPoint, so you want to try to be as exciting as you can, because if you're exciting sells, and you want to make sure people aren't just like, oh, this is another thing, because they're not going to take anything away from what you want to say if you just give them a death by PowerPoint. And that's the simplest way to put it. So you want to try to be enthusiastic when you're trying to speak. You want to be excited about what you're saying. And I thought that it was a good thing I had learned, because I was watching the TED Talks that you had, and I think that was one of the main things I wanted to take away from this class. I hope I had done very well in that manner. So summary, I've definitely enjoyed this class a lot. I know I have been on top of my work, but every time I see like the prompts and everything, I get excited for it. It's just I've been slacking sometimes, and I know that was definitely my downfall at some points, but there's definitely a lot of fun moments that I had while I was in Speech 219. So I'd like to thank you for letting me be in this class and doing the speech along the way. Thank you.